Hi everyone, welcome to the July Fireside with Erica. We're going to be starting off by introducing Innoverge. So what is Innoverge? We are a global youth network working to diversify the next generation of changemakers through interdisciplinary STEMX education. Currently, we have held over 250 free events, workshops, and programs worldwide for minority youths. And so our focus is on interdisciplinary STEMX curriculum for social good. So our pillars to create these events focus on virtual programming, community education, and the incubator mentorship. In virtual programming, there are monthly fireside chats such as this one, the newsletters, and more resources. Community education includes in-person and impactful STEM Mix Humanities programming for underrepresented youths and the remote learning program, which is headed by our internal heads. And then our incubator mentorship is a tight-knit student-driven mentorship program which launches ideas and projects. So what is our impact now? Our international presence includes over 6,700 plus students impacted in 58 locations and 14 countries. We've been previously supported by Disney, the Hershey Company, we, and Youth Service America, and currently we are a 501c3 fiscally sponsored organization. So if you want to get to know Innoverge a little bit more or get to know our activities, just check us out at innoverge.com. So this is some ways that you could get involved. You could become a regional director by leading STEM education in your community, following our newsletter to stay tuned with our latest programs, competitions, and opportunities, or others, and then mentorship opportunities where you could sign up to mentor a middle school student in STEM. And then I'll pass it on to Erica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica. I'm current, a rising sophomore at Princeton University. Studying computer science, and then also minoring in Japanese language and culture, as well as, what was my other one? Finance. But it's really changing. So, that's also just part of going to college and figuring out what you really want to study. But yeah, just like this organization, I'm also very much interested in STEM, and I also myself have participated in a lot of these programs that teach technology to young girls. So I guess my journey to STEM is it goes all the way back to like when I was in Japan. So I was born in Japan. I guess in Japan, like at the school, like there weren't much opportunity to really like use computers or just familiarize yourself with technology. And I think a lot of people, especially if you know about Japan, is like within the working industry as well, there's not that many use of technology as much as like maybe let's say the United States. So there's a lack of like touch with current technology within Japan that you can see a lot, even though like Japan is known for very cool, robotics or like engineering features. So then I lived in Japan for about like 7 years, 8 years, and then I moved to Taiwan because my dad is Taiwanese and he wanted me to just know more about my culture and like learn the language itself. And even then, yeah, like there were really no exposure to computers at all. It could just be that because I attended there for like elementary and maybe within the curriculum, there weren't that many opportunities. But I think when I finally moved to the United States and there were like a lot of computer usage times, and like that's like when I was finally exposed to technology and just using computers. And like even though it's not really about technology, like learning how to type and all those sorts is kind of interesting because like if you go back to Asia, you notice like a lot of people like don't know how to type properly, like using the like correct like format. But that's something you learn in elementary school in the United States. So there's different like exposure technology that I noticed. So I personally like kind of grew fond of technology and just like using it. And I also like myself wanted to figure out how that worked personally. So when my dad and mom like realized like I was sort of interested in like kind of exploring throughout like those kind of things, and they kind of started signing me up for like coding programs or like just technology programs in general. And the girl who like hosted the program was actually like a family friend of mine that was a few years older than me. And she graduated college. No, she graduated high school when I began high school. And she told me, I was like, yeah, you know, I know you're interested in technology and you have like learned like from these kind of programs that are meant for girls, like maybe you could be interested in hosting your own. So that is really how I began like finding my own like nonprofit organization on Bytes of Code, teaching very like elementary technology / science concepts to young girls, especially in my area, it's called Santa Ana. But there are a lot of minorities there that don't really get the technology education or early exposure that could be quite vital to a lot of girls for furthering their like exploration within technology. So I knew like I wanted to give back just so, like the way the program has like given me the opportunity to learn more about technology. So that's kind of where I had started my organization. And, you know, after like the first program, I was like, I kind of want to make different curriculums. So like something like Arduino, like more like engineering focused, maybe something more like coding or like Java programming or anything like, you know, I started creating like curriculum that was from beginners to all the way to advanced by like recruiting or just asking other people who have experience in like maybe data structure who want to, you know, kind of give like an introductory course to those kind of things. So I was able to work with a lot of people in my grade that knew a lot of niche topics and wanted to give back. And that was the way my organization started. And, you know, knowing that I have like a very different background and knowing that there's a lot of people in different countries, especially like Japan or like Taiwan where I live, that didn't have the earlier exposure, I wanted to be able to provide those resources. So then I started like creating these like, you know, technology curriculum that was in different languages as well. Yeah.
Cool. Is that how, is that why you're minoring in like Japanese language?
Yeah, that is also part of the reason. I think it's also because, you know, like even though I lived there for like almost half of my life there, there's a lot of things or a lot of like language barrier that I wanted to get over. And I kind of was hoping that I would go back to Japan eventually after college to like work some years there because I think I just miss home and it would be nice if I can like basically write better in that language. Yeah.
Okay, so before we
Mhm.
start with the questions, I have a few rapid fire questions just to make it
Yeah.
a little bit more fun. So
Hmm.
first of all, if you were a sea animal, what would you be and why?
Sea animal. Let's see. Hmm. I kind of I guess a dolphin. I don't know if that's like a general answer that people give, but dolphins are like I it's known for being like very like kind and like I guess like yeah, I think it has that image within my head. So I kind of like want to replicate that within me, I guess. So
Yeah, cool. Next, what's your favorite utensil?
utensil. I know some people don't like this, but I really like to be a spork because I feel like, you know,
Really?
it's like pretty useful to have both at the same time.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. And it's just efficient and I like being efficient too.
got it. And then
Hmm.
last one, if you got to choose to be a master at one sport, what would it be?
Oh, one sport. Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, I've been watching a lot of Olympics
yeah, me
and I
too.
think yeah. Um okay, I did high jump when I was in high school for like one semester and I really enjoyed it. But obviously I wasn't good enough because I don't have the heights. So if I could, you know, have the heights for it, it'd be really fun. So maybe that sport, yeah.
Cool. Okay,
Hmm.
so I'll move on to some of the questions that we got from Instagram.
For
Trisha
sure.
asked, how did you start building your team for Bytes of Code?
Yeah. One way I sourced like grouped up my team. Obviously, you when you start high school, there's a lot of clubs that you can join, and one of the clubs, a lot of girls that are interested in technology, you know, would join Girls Who Code. But it was a nice club because at our high school, it wasn't really masked with like a lot of girls or anything. It was just a very niche club, and everyone in the club was very interested in technology. And there was one girl that was in my grade that was super interested in technology that I knew was very passionate about, like, you know, creating curriculums, and she knew a lot about technology as well. So it was like that could be a perfect opportunity for me to work with someone I know, because, you know, especially organization, even though you can start as an individual like work thing, when you want to make it bigger and like do a lot more things because you have more goals that you want to create for the organization and for yourself, it's honestly a lot better when you can just group up and like talk about things. And, you know, being able to work with others is like providing new ideas that you may not have thought about, and it can also provide you with skills that, you know, I may not have. And another way is, you know, I attended a summer program called LaunchX. I know some of you guys may know. So LaunchX was like a entrepreneurship incubator. So a lot of the people there were very driven, motivated people that, you know, I will never like really forget. And there was one girl that attended school at this like technology like focused school, and she knew a lot about data structures and algorithms unlike me. And at that time I was really expanding my curriculum then, and like really wanted to create these like different like difficulty levels for my curriculum. And at that time, like for me, I didn't know much about like data structure or algorithm, but because she was like given the opportunity to learn those kind of things, you know, I asked her, hey, you know, I'm part of this organization trying to create curriculums, like a diverse field of curriculums, and she was very much interested in it. So that's how I kind of like, you know, as you meet people in programs or like, you know, yeah, or like fairs that, you know, you get to know them pretty well, and you kind of notice that they have a passion for like creating like educational like curriculums, or just are very passionate about a specific topic. You know, those are kind of the people that you really want to like ask for help.
Got it. And so in
Hmm.
terms of finding fairs and programs, how
Hmm.
do you go about finding these types of programs as high school students?
Mm. Yeah. Um, One organization that really helped me out with like finding these fairs and programs was NCWIT. I'm sure a lot of people have heard it. National Center for Women in IT. I forgot the last part what it stands for, but that one, as soon like there's a like a period of time where you can apply for awards. I don't know if this is a thing anymore, but they have a great like group of girls ranging from like freshmen in high school all the way to like woman that's getting a PhD in computer science. And there's a lot of people there, and it's really free to just ask any questions, and all of them really post a lot of opportunities that we are all interested in. So if that's still available to join, that's somewhere that could be really helpful for a lot of people.
Got it. And then
Hmm.
Lisa asked, why did you choose to major in operations research and financial engineering?
Yeah. Yeah. In the beginning, I said I was like, oh, I'm majoring in computer science, right? But yeah, in truth, I am deciding between computer science and operational research and financial engineering. I guess one is because I am personally interested in computer science, but I would like to learn more about how I can apply computer science to different fields. That's something more I'm interested in, like creating innovation, but also like the practical like application field of computer science. So this may be just niche towards Princeton, but at Princeton, computer science major is more the theoretical. The theories of computer science is what computer science majors really study there.
Mhm.
So if you want to get the more practical applications of computer science, a lot more people choose operational research and financial engineering. This isn't like a major that is available at all schools. I know that, but yeah, at Princeton for this, like we call it Orphe, but for Orphe, there's different fields you can apply. You can do healthcare field, you can do more like IT specific, you can do finance specific. So what I'm doing is Orphe and like a concentration in computer science. So that allows me to not only hone in on my computer skills, but also hone in on like very real world application courses that I can't get through a computer science major at my school.
Got it. And
Mhm.
if you're an incoming college freshman that isn't really
Mhm.
sure of what they want to do you recommend them to gain experience in multiple fields or take classes in multiple fields, or what would you recommend them to do before choosing a major?
Yeah, I think one thing to know is that it's always probably the best to not know what you want to do because, if you go in and it's like, I want to do computer science for sure, you're not going to give yourself even the opportunity to really explore the other fields. And it's not the same as like going to high school, taking science courses or taking history courses. It's really different when you get to college. And, like every semester, you should always try to put like a one course or one class that's like really out of your field. You can try to do like courses, like maybe taking a language course, which is what I'm doing, and I'm end up getting a minor in, or maybe taking like East Asian courses, psychology, like ethics. There's a lot of things that you don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of like fields that weren't given in high school
Mhm.
that colleges now offer. And
Yeah.
if you find something that you think is interesting, you should just definitely like dive deeper in that, take a course, maybe you'll like it. If you don't like it, maybe explore a different field. Uh, but yeah, it also like depends on how practical you don't want to be, right? As much as though I want to say like pursue your passion at all times, you also want to make sure that like you are like not financially stable, but overall in life, you want to just be able to support yourself no matter what, right? So make sure, like, even though the field may not be something that you'll like the most, um, think about like how it can help you in the future
Mhm.
and what it can apply towards, really. But yeah, you don't really have to major in something just because you're really passionate about it. Maybe minor in it, take some few courses in it. But definitely do explore as much as you can when you're in college.
Got it. And then,
Mhm.
just going down the college route, since it is almost time to start back at school, how was the transition like from high school to college, and how did you, sort of make that adjustment?
Yeah. I guess I'm in like a really unique position to like it's a different response from other years, right? Because I started college at my house, like in my room,
Yeah.
not really knowing anyone in my grade at my school, right? At my new school, which is like probably the worst because like you're trying to start a new school, you're trying to meet new people, but it's almost impossible because like everyone's in a different time zone or like studying different things or you know but how would I say, I think one major thing I would say is to just not rush or just not worry about it because everyone's facing the same like anxiety or just worries, right? Everyone's like, oh, I don't know anyone in my school, like what am I going to do? But really, like when you get your courses, I mean, a lot of people in that course, when you get to college, you're not going to be able to get through one class by yourself. Like it's really a team effort, and like being able to collaborate with other students and talk about like certain topics or like studying together is how you really get to know other people too. But that's what I was able to do like first semester, like all my classes were online, right? But slowly like we all made like group group discussions for like each of these classes, and like some people, and if there's some like person that's in your class through Zoom that you're like, oh, this person is cool, then you can like really be confident, just reach out and see like if they want to study with you or if they want to just hang out with you through calls. Obviously it's going to be different. I don't know how the colleges are going to be like for all of them because I think some of them may still be online and some of them are like half and half, or some of them are just full capacity in person. But I always say just take the opportunity when you can, just don't rush or don't worry at all, and it will happen eventually, like whatever you're aspiring for or hoping for.
Cool. Just like wondering, were you in person any time of the year, or was it like fully online for you last year?
Mhm. Yeah, so first semester was completely online. But second semester, I was on campus, but classes were still online.
Oh, got it. So how was
Yeah.
like that transition for you in terms of making friends and meeting people? Was it pretty similar or was it?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, even though like first semester was online, people who were really proactive
Mhm.
online, like making sure they talk to like classmates, they
Yeah,
were able to easily talk to them in person, right? Me personally, I was just too lazy and I was like, I'm no like unless I'm gonna see them in person, like I'm not gonna like talk to them that much.
yeah,
So like first semester I did like talk to a few people that had like majors in common or like minors in common or took a lot of the classes that were the same because at the end of the day we're all busy students, right? You're like the only time you're really gonna talk to classmates is like when you have the same majors and taking the same class or studying together. So that kind of formed me like a small group that I was like I like them and like at Princeton there's residential colleges which is like a how do I say it? Based upon like, you know, like your preferences, your personality, they put you into groups of like dorms to live in together. So then it happened to be that one girl that I took a lot of classes that was in common. She was actually like my neighbor in the same like residential college. So we hit off really well. And you know, like when you know one person, that one person may know other people. And
yeah.
you know, it's just really about putting yourself out there and just meeting new people and seeing like, oh, if this someone is someone really cool that you like and you want to like, you know, talk to them more about. Yeah.
Cool. Is that residential system kind of like a Harry Potter house-esque?
Yeah. Yeah.
It?
It kind of is because like you take surveys on like, oh, like, you know, what kind of activities do you like to do? Like what are your study habits? Like if you have dietary restrictions, I don't know. But it's really fun because you're like, oh, like where which residential college did you get? And
Yeah,
like kind of a talk. Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'm coming in as a college freshman, and so
hmm
my university also does that. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must say a lot of schools that provide those residential colleges, it's like it depends, but like my residential college was like far from the main area of the campus.
Got it.
So like it really became like a tight-knit family, like we knew each other, like it was very nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. So
Mhm.
it is like high school senior college application season, and I know that could be
Mhm.
hectic. What advice do you have for rising high school seniors who are currently applying to college?
Yeah. Um I guess if you haven't started your application, definitely should. I started mine pretty early. Like as soon as school ended, like starting beginning of July, I was like already in mind for like what kind of things I really wanted to feature about myself, or like what kind of features or like things that I really liked about myself that I really wanted to show to college. I think I just started jotting things or like, you know, or like specific moments in life that really meant a lot to you.
Yeah,
Just like, you know, when you're walking or like I don't know, just hanging out with other people. Like sometimes you are in your brain space and like you
yeah,
think about these things or you remember those kind of things. And I would just jot them down and see like, you know, so when there's like lists of stuff that's like kind of defining you or moments defining or memories that you're really fond of, then like you can really think about like, oh, is this something that's really worth talking about? Is this something that's special to me that, you know, colleges would maybe be interested in? But yeah, that's something I did that I think is really helpful for everyone that's like, you know, doing their application. It's never too late to get started. Aside from college application, look into scholarships.
mhm,
That's also something that's very important to do because a lot of scholarships, especially the competitive ones, do start pretty early, like in mid-August. Um, what else? Let's see. Yeah, I guess just don't procrastinate. One thing about this is about colleges. I guess like I don't know what college tours if they're open or not,
it's
but like
yeah, iffy.
yeah, if they are, definitely should take advantage of. I think it's what's really important is like there's a lot of people just because of the name, they're like, oh, I want to apply to that school.
Mhm.
Totally fine. Like you can do that, right? But at the end of the day, you will really need to figure out like what school really fits with you. So at Princeton, I'm in an organization called Matriculate, which is basically helping out low income students get into high achieving low income students to get into top performing schools or high graduation rate schools. Yeah. So like we had a webinar last week that was like, like if your student is applying to all the Ivy Leagues, and that means that they don't really know like why they're applying there for, because each of the Ivy Leagues are very different, is what I'm gonna say. Like, what was it? Yeah, at the webinar, the leader was saying, like, if you apply to Brown and Dartmouth at the same time, those two schools are very different. And it kind of shows like the student didn't do much research into that school. So always make sure that like you know your preferences for college, like what kind of setting do you want, like what kind of like activities or what kind of clubs that you want to join, what kind of field of study you want to do. Make sure to do those kind of research before you just, get into that school and you realize that you want to go there. But when you get there, you're like, oh shoot, this school doesn't have these kind of things that I was looking for, right? So it's very important to do research into the school just as much as, just getting ready for the application for that school too.
Got it. And then
Mhm.
after the college process does end, how would you recommend them to choose their school if they have several options to choose from?
Yeah. One thing is depending on the financial aid. I don't know, for me, it was really like, yeah, what would I say? How would you decide? If you can visit the campus, definitely should visit. If you know someone at that school, definitely should talk to them, because there are a lot of things that like the school website or that wouldn't talk about that you may not like, or those kind of things. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think like a lot of people before they apply for school, I'm sure they have their tops, their favorites. Look into that. Hopefully you get into the school that you really want to go to so that you don't have to decide between any two schools really. But yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I guess I was deciding between UC Berkeley and Princeton, like because those two schools were what kind of met my preference.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I chose Princeton because I chose Princeton because like, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. There's something special about private schools where like you really get to know the alumni, especially the smaller the school is, like you get to know your alumni so much better, and they're all really willing to help. So like definitely choosing based upon like, the amount of students at that school, like kind of relationship you can get with these professors, because, they're going to have to write your like recommendation letter. And if you don't know your professor that well, it's going to be very hard to get a recommendation letter from them. So those are very little things, but very important things to think about when you're choosing a school.
Got it. So this is a little bit off the track from college, but how did you begin working in startups as a high schooler?
Startups. Yeah. The main way is so the program I was talking about, LaunchX, is like an entrepreneurship incubator. So that was like the first way I was like, it made me think about like, okay, when you want to create an innovation, think about the things that is a problem that exists within the world. Now, is there a solution to it? If there isn't, that is something that you can think about. And then if there is, think about how you can make it better, really. And like, those are the kind of things that really trains the brain to think about, like, when you do things in your life, or like, just daily tasks you do, then you're like, oh, I wish there was a better way to do this. And those are the kind of things that people don't like, implicitly think about, because like, yeah, you just don't think about it because you just do the task. But when you're an entrepreneur, like you have an entrepreneurial like thinking, those are the things you take advantage of and see if there's an opportunity within there. And yeah, so at the incubator, I was able to meet a lot of people that had the same like thinking, or like want to create innovation because they were into technology, or just because, or like because they were interested in being like starting something small by making it something big. So meeting all this kind of people and asking them for their advice, or like seeking skills that you may not have, and with the right group of people and with meeting the right people, there's a lot of things you can do. But yeah.
Got it. And then
Mhm.
with that, did you do a lot of like cold emailing in high school to get the opportunities that you've had with like internships or research, etc.?
Hmm. I didn't really yeah, I don't think I did that many cold emailings regarding like internships or research, because a lot of things like either my school like sent out an opportunity, or like the organization NC Wit sent an opportunity saying, hey, there's like a program at this corporation that's intended towards high schoolers, and if you want to apply, like feel free to apply. One thing I would say, no need for cold emailing like for opportunities unless you really want that specific opportunity, because there's already a lot of programs that's meant for high school students, and you just have to find the right place to look for those opportunities. um Cold The only time I really did any cold emailing is like when I was looking for vendors or like sponsors for my organization to like, like provide like any sort like resources they can do for like my program. But aside from that, I didn't really do much cold emailing for like internships or researches. I think people just need to make sure they seize the opportunity that are given to them, because one opportunity can lead to a lot of different opportunities.
Definitely. And then last two questions. First of all,
Hmm.
how did you balance your time between your interests, studying, and spending time with your family and friends?
Yeah. Um, as much as yeah, as much as we want to do everything, right? We want to make sure we have a good work life balance, have fun, but also get your things done. It's sometimes hard, and you just like, for me, although it's like maybe not the best advice, but for me, it was just accept that you can't have everything in life. So you got to choose things that you want, really. For me, I personally, I was passionate about the things I've done, starting an organization, creating those like educational curriculum. If you feel like that's just work and it's not fun, obviously you're gonna have a very dreaded like lifestyle. But if you can turn that in a way that like you are more ambitious, or you can get yourself more motivated to work in that condition, then like that's great. Like do that, because you shouldn't be doing things just because you think you're supposed to be doing it. You should just do it because that's something you want to do, really. And when you turn something that can be both a passion for you, but can help out a lot of people, that's like when life is really like truly fulfilling, really. And when you're doing work that's fun and also have time for like school, then like, I don't know, it kind of turns fun, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of sacrifice, really, right? Because like if you start an organization, sometimes you just gotta abandon like schoolwork, and then like, you know, right before the class starts or something, you just get it over with, get it done, and hopefully you'll make it, really.
Cool. And then last question, imposter syndrome is something that everyone faces, I'm sure, throughout their lives. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So a lot of people at at my college, yeah, definitely face imposter syndrome. Like they're like, yeah, because they felt like there are a lot more students at the college at Princeton that were like very worthy, or like so much better than them. But like for me personally, I didn't have imposter syndrome. I was like, I don't really care. I'm already here. Like, you can't really reject me. Like, I can't really, why would I reject myself? I'm already here, really. So if you feel like, you're doing something bad, or like you haven't done enough,
Mhm.
because there's so many people that's better than you, or that has accomplished more than you, well then like, just accomplish more in your life and you'll be fine. Set goals. Don't like don't I guess like people with imposter syndrome feels like there's a lot of regret or like disappointed in themselves. Like if you feel disappointed, then just do something that will amaze you. And you really don't have to prove to anyone that like, hey, like I'm like this, or like I have done this.
Mhm.
If you're happy with yourself and if you're proud of those things you've done, like clearly like everyone, like even though it may not seem like it means much or it does much, but like I'm sure everyone has done something that other people have not been able to do, or that you have been proud of. These small little proud moments are something that you have to remember when you feel defeated because other people have done greater things in life. But everyone's in their life doing their own thing, doing stuff at their own pace. There's no need to really compare yourself all the time.
Mhm. Sounds good. So that's all
Hmm.
the questions that I have. Thank you so much for your time and
Great.
spending all this time talking to us and
Of
telling us your
course.
experiences.
No, thank you. It was a lot.